Resident Evil Remake is often cited as the peak survival horror gaming experience. Not only do I agree with this opinion, but this Resident Evil title in particular is very near and dear to my heart as it was my first true horror gaming experience. There's always been one piece of audio from the game that stuck out in my mind, and that is the main hall theme. On the surface, it is a beautifully haunting piece, but when we approach it with a more analytical ear, it seems there's more at play here. So let's do it. Let's do a mini analysis of the main hall theme from Resident Evil Remake. After being harassed and chased by the Cerberus dogs in an intense opening sequence, we first hear the main hall theme within minutes of our arrival at the Spencer mansion. I would imagine that a lot of players who, upon hearing this audio for the first time, would have drawn an immediate comparison to that of a holy choir. I believe the use of audio that evokes thoughts of gods or deities is an intentional move by the composer. We have to remember, after all, that this mansion belonged to Oswald E. Spencer, one of the most prolific antagonists in the series, who had an incredibly huge god complex. While we don't have any direct notes or diaries from the thoughts of Spencer in Resident Evil Remake, we can infer that he saw himself as a powerful, superior, and controlling individual who possessed the power to shape life according to his vision. We can arrive at this conclusion based on collective information in documents such as the Keeper's Diary, Researcher's Will, and from the notes written by George Trevor, alongside our first-hand experience in the dangerous rooms of the mansion and our encounters with the monstrous results of the work that Spencer directed in Umbrella's lab. Spencer's godlike notions are further solidified in later Resident Evil titles when we have direct exposure to the inner workings of his mind. Nevertheless, whether we are examining Spencer across the entirety of the lore, or if we are just isolating our analysis to Resident Evil Remake, the conclusion is the same in that the main hall theme is conveying to the player that we've entered the premises of a self-perceived god or deity. While that may be the case, the composer does not want us to feel safe in our newly found place of refuge. The two lead notes sung by the choir evoke a strong sense of apprehension and unease due to the shift from the higher note to the lower note, which results in an unsettling, sinister sound. If we listen a little closer to the layers of audio underlying those two notes, there is a lot of reverb, some unusual bassy thumps, and a strange droning, buzzing sound. The use of reverb naturally enough symbolizes the grand nature of the mansion, however the bassy thumps and strange droning buzzing creates a level of distrust for the environment and arouses anxiety about what we might encounter should we venture deeper into the mansion. I do believe that the choir serves another purpose in addition to those mentioned already. I believe the composer creates a symbolic connection between the choir and the undead that roam the Spencer mansion. Not only are the sounds emitted by the choir dull and lifeless like those of the zombies, but there's a hard limitation, if you will, to the musical progression of the piece. There's only really two main notes sung by the choir, and the composer has chosen to just loop these two notes over and over. The lack of progression of the choir could very well be an attempt to symbolize the undead's lack of intelligence, while the repetitive nature of the piece is perhaps a nod to the one-track mind of the zombie, which is centered around an insatiable hunger. Overall, the main hall theme, while being a very simplistic piece of audio, it evokes an extremely strong sense of fear on the surface level, while potentially carrying some heavy symbolism. We hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave us a comment on your thoughts on the main hall theme, or your favourite piece of music from the Resident Evil series. Also, if you're interested in hearing more about our thoughts on a potential remake of Resident Evil Remake, feel free to watch our podcast video on screen right now. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.